Scene 1, the Garden of Gethsemane. Beneath a silvered moon that casts long, trembling shadows across the ancient stones and gnarled olive trees, the Garden of Gethsemane stretches into a solemn, almost sacred silence, where every leaf and twig seems to hold its breath in anticipation. Jesus kneels on the cold, uneven earth, his knees pressing into the soil, his hands gripping the ground as though the very soil could anchor his frail, trembling human body against the weight of eternity pressing down upon him. Beads of sweat, mingled with the subtle scent of blood, trace the contours of his brow and temple, and fall slowly onto the soil beneath him, each drop marking the invisible anguish of a soul carrying the sins of the world. His voice, barely above a whisper, trembles yet resonates with a strange, transcendent authority as he speaks. "Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Each word a delicate thread woven into the night air, which seems thick with anticipation, almost vibrating with unseen presence. The gentle rustle of olive leaves and the distant sigh of night creatures provide the only response, creating a haunting counterpoint to his prayer, as though creation itself listens, frozen in a suspended moment between hope and despair. He rises slowly, deliberately, the robe clinging to his form as his silhouette stretches against the pale lunar wash. Eyes calm but infinitely sad, reflecting an awareness that surpasses the mortal understanding of his disciples. Every shadow in the garden seems to bend toward him, the twisted branches framing him like an unspoken halo of quiet reverence, and the faint breeze whispers across the still earth as if carrying the weight of impending judgment. In the distance, his disciples stir, their uneasy movements betraying restless fatigue and ignorance of the storm approaching. Their whispered questions and murmured prayers lost in the tension of the night. The faint glimmer of stars above appears almost fragile against the heaviness of the scene below. And yet, in his surrender, there is an almost unbearable serenity, a quiet resolve that trembles with vulnerability but radiates unshakable purpose. The garden is alive with a paradox, fragile, trembling humanity intersecting with the weight of divine destiny. Every stone, every leaf, every subtle movement, a silent witness to the monumental choice being made in the stillness of the night. A choice whose echoes will ripple across time and eternity, marking this place as sacred, haunted, and forever eternal. Scene 2, the disciples' reaction. In the shadows of the garden, the disciples huddle like fragile vessels of unease, their whispers barely audible above the subtle rustle of leaves and the soft, uneven breathing of the night. Peter's gaze flits between Jesus and the shifting shadows, a storm of loyalty and fear warring within him, his hands clenching and unclenching on the hilt of his sword as though the steel itself could anchor his courage. "He looks different tonight," he mutters, voice barely carrying, as if he already knows what is coming, and a shiver runs through the group, the words hanging like fog in the cool air. Some bow their heads in prayer, lips moving silently, eyes pressed shut, as if the act of devotion could shield them from the truth radiating from their master's serene composure. Others avert their gaze, unable to face the calm inevitability etched across his face, the very air around him vibrating with an authority that both comforts and terrifies. Jesus steps forward, deliberate, his presence shifting the atmosphere like a tide, and rests his hand gently on John's shoulder, a gesture that anchors the boy amidst a storm of fear. "The hour has come. Stay with me. Watch and pray," he commands, his voice both tender and unyielding. A paradox of authority and intimacy that presses upon their hearts with the weight of destiny. In the distance, a new sound slices through the night, the measured, rhythmic footfalls of approaching soldiers, the flicker of torches cutting swaths of light through darkness, painting the trees and the disciples' faces with trembling gold. The air thickens instantly, a tangible pulse of fear, anticipation and foreboding, and Peter tightens his grip on the sword, knuckles whitening, eyes darting in all directions, heart hammering as adrenaline surges. Andrew steps back, whispering prayers, while Thomas shifts uneasily, mind racing, imagining every possible outcome. The night that was silent, expectant, and almost reverent explodes with tension. every shadow stretching, twisting, and coiling in response to the invisible, approaching threat. The disciples' hearts pound, breaths shallow, bodies taut, as if the forest itself conspires with their terror. Every whisper dies into the night. Every leaf seems to hold its breath, and the unseen wind carries with it the scent of iron and fear, the prelude to betrayal, while the eternal question, will they remain steadfast or falter, hangs over them like a storm cloud poised to break. Scene 3. The betrayal and arrest. The night is violently shattered as torches flame through the trees. Soldiers emerging like phantoms in the silvered gloom, armor clanging, swords flashing like fractured moonlight. Every step an intrusion of chaos into the sacred silence of the garden. Judas moves with deliberate intent at the forefront. Eyes downcast, lips curled into a hollow, uneasy smile, the weight of inevitability pressing every step forward. Until he stands just an arm's length from Jesus, hesitation and duty ward upon his brow. "Rabbi," he whispers, the word almost lost beneath the rustle of leaves and the sudden rush of motion, and presses a kiss to Jesus' cheek, an act so intimate, so sacred, that it fractures the night like a brittle pane of glass. Soldiers surge forward with violent coordination, grabbing, binding, their hands rough and unyielding as Peter lunges, sword flashing with desperate loyalty, the metallic clang echoing like thunder in the quiet garden. Blood stains the soil, cries pierce the night. Yet in the eye of the storm, Jesus raises his voice, calm, commanding, authoritative. No more of this. He touches the wounded soldier, and in an instant, the bleeding ceases. Flesh healed, as if the very night bends to his will, leaving the soldiers frozen in awe, torches wobbling uncertainly in their hands. Confusion ripples through the crowd, fear and disbelief mingling while Jesus steps forward, unresisting, each movement deliberate, serene, his eyes unwavering. Voice steady. "This is your hour, the power of darkness." The disciples recoil, terror paralyzing them, their courage crumbling beneath the weight of helpless awe. Soldiers secure him, hesitation flickering across their features, while the garden itself seems to bend toward him, shadows shifting as if in reverence. The clash of steel, cries of alarm, and the scent of blood mingle with the cool night air, creating a tableau of chaos, mercy, and betrayal. While Jesus walks willingly into the hands of destiny, a figure of unwavering purpose, a calm eye in the storm of human frailty, a light cutting through the suffocating darkness, leaving every onlooker suspended in awe and fear, witnessing the intersection of mortality, divinity, and the inexorable pull of history in one heart-wrenching moment. Scene 4. The aftermath. Silence descends unevenly upon the garden after the chaos, punctuated only by the sporadic shouts of retreating soldiers, the soft, hurried footsteps of fleeing disciples, and the whispering of the olive leaves stirred by a restless breeze. Peter stands frozen, sword limp in his hand, chest heaving with guilt and fear, torn between loyalty, grief, and terror, as the weight of what he failed to prevent presses like iron into his spine. He watches Jesus, arms bound, stride calmly beneath wavering torchlight, each measured step exuding serenity and quiet authority, a majesty that confounds even the hardened soldiers guiding him away. One by one, the disciples retreat, swallowed by shadows in the night, leaving the garden empty save for the twisted olive trees and the pale, reflective moon. Peter raises a tentative step forward, then falters, retreating again, the ghosts of his hesitation and the bitter taste of betrayal haunting every heartbeat. Jesus disappears slowly into darkness, a figure swallowed by the night, the torchlight fading behind him, leaving a silence so profound that the garden seems to breathe with it. Every leaf and stone attuned to the gravity of the moment. The air is thick with awe, fear, and sorrow, a tangible residue of courage tested, mercy extended, and destinies intertwined, while the olive trees whisper and sway in mourning, silent witnesses to a moment that will echo through eternity. The night deepens, heavy and sacred, the memory of chaos fading into an almost tangible stillness, and yet the air vibrates subtly with the weight of what has transpired, the choice made, the surrender embraced, and the unbroken thread of love and sacrifice that will forever mark this night as the pivot point of human and divine history. leaving an emptiness that is haunting, holy, and infinite. A silence that speaks louder than any voice. A calm that trembles with the promise of redemption,